Let's dive into some NFTs today, and it might be a little different strategy than what maybe you've been looking at the NFT market. Financial NFTs, and I think the explosion of what we'll see in the use of NFT technology is really going to be something to watch this year, especially in 2022. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to TechPath today. We're going to have joining me today is Mr. Meng, who is the co-founder of Solv Protocol, who's doing just that. Mike, welcome to the show.
Paul, thank you very much for having me.
Excellent. So Mike, let's get into a little bit about Solv Protocol. You guys, of course, have really went a different route in how to approach both NFTs, but in general, the financial instruments that you guys are trying to build over at Solv Protocol. Talk to me a little bit about first your background in the industry and then what you're trying to do at Solv.
Okay, my name is Meng, and you can call me Mike. I'm one of the three co-founders of Solv Protocol. We started this project in October 2020, some 15 months ago. Before that, I was doing crypto education and consulting, evangelism in China for about 5 years. I got a lot of public speech and of course lectures and published some high impact articles. I estimate I have influenced more than 1 million Chinese speaking people. Before that, I worked for IBM for 8 years as a marketing communication professional. I'm now living in Melbourne, Australia, and you can tell that English is not my first language, but I will try my best to make myself clear.
No problem. So with the co-founders, when you guys were kind of sitting down looking at blockchain and kind of the problems that we see in, especially in the financial industry, it's the reason we've seen DeFi explode. We've seen the alternative coin, all sorts of altcoins and different types of tech that has really moved to kind of Web 3.0 or Web 3. Talk to me about what you kind of drew out on the napkin and said, hey, this is the problem we're trying to solve. This is how we think we can do it.
That we actually added a new class of financial assets into DeFi, into the whole crypto. We call it Financial NFT. So that's Solv. That Solv is doing. About Solv, we have two things to say. One is it's a DeFi. It's a DeFi protocol. The other is it's a financial NFT platform. So this new world, I hope it can still become a catching phrase. Financial NFT.
Yep.
It's a new NFT tailor-made to express a variety of smart financial instrument. So smart financial instrument is a key words. In other words, actually, financial NFT are any NFTs applies as a financial instrument.
Yeah.
So that's our insight, and that's the thing we're doing.
Let's talk about, okay, so I see a lot of potential use cases for financial NFTs, and just in general, when we look at how the blockchain could address a lot of things from binding contracts, this could happen in law. You look at how financial institutions, banks, et cetera, funding companies, all those types of scenarios that typically
Yes.
are doing this in a much more manual process. You are trying to solve that and obviously increase security and all those elements. Kind of when you look at the growth of where this go, is there one particular sector that you feel might lean into what you guys are trying to do more so than any others?
There now a more and more popular phrase called NFT financialization, right?
Mm-hmm.
This can be a huge market, in my opinion. It's actually make many NFTs to be traded as a financial asset.
Yeah.
And Solv is actually focused on one sector of that huge market. We call it, as I just said, financial NFT market. One of our investors said it will become a multi-trillion huge market in the maybe 2 decades from now.
Right.
But yeah, it's a special kind of new class of asset. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting when I think a lot of people step back and really try to understand what's happening in blockchain in just the ability to
Hmm.
move, whether it's financial assets, digital assets, et cetera, from one token holder or one wallet to another. I know that today, we see a lot of people that follow our channel. It is a little bit of a clunky process, but at the same time, it's still very innovative. But if you look at kind of what's happened in banking over the last 3 decades, 4 decades, if you really pull
Hmm.
back the bonnet, the complexity inside of just a bank transaction is pretty immense. The only difference is people never see that. So I think that's one of the things that a lot of blockchain will eventually have to solve is getting to the point where this comes somewhat ubiquitous in terms of how people view it. So it's easy to onboard, et cetera. Now, you guys had an IVO, an initial voucher offering. Explain to us what that is. It happened in December. What was the goal of it, and how's it going?
Yeah, IVO stands for Initial Voucher Offering, and it's a better way, in my opinion, for a crypto project to do fundraising
Hmm.
than ICO. We did the first ever IVO on 14th of December, and it was very successful. Um, we did the IVO on our own platform and Binance NFT market in parallel.
Yeah.
In Binance, all 888 vouchers were sold in 1 second. So by the end of the first day, the floor price tripled, and
Yeah.
the total transaction volume was about 1.8 million US dollar, makes us the ninth most traded NFTs in Binance in all time.
Interesting.
So a week later we did the second IVO for a project called Izumi. It's also very successful. So as a new form of fundraising, I think it's amazing. It's exciting.
Explain to me the differences or the benefits of, say, an IVO versus a traditional initial coin offering for someone outside the US. Obviously, we don't see this much in the US, but outside the US, when you're looking at a lot of these projects, that's how most of these projects go to market. What is the big difference with
Yeah.
the IVO and the ICO?
So to understand this question, we have to understand what is voucher. Actually, here when I say voucher, I refer to a specific type of voucher. We call it vesting voucher. A
Hmm.
vesting voucher is a fractionable NFT containing a number of vesting tokens. So these NFTs are locked in that NFT and can only be released according to a predefined schedule. So this is a vesting voucher. Today when you do ICO, you actually are not selling your spot tokens.
Yeah.
Actually, you are selling your allocations, right? Your vesting tokens. You need to deploy a smart contract to
Hmm.
deliver the tokens according to the schedule, right? The vesting voucher we created does the same thing. Just we enclose the vesting tokens in that fractionable and transferable NFT. So in this sense, it's like a sort of a smart bond. It
Gotcha.
periodically pay you, yeah, periodically pay you some tokens. But this is automated, right? Self-enforced. And better still, it can be transferred and split it into pieces. So this is vesting voucher. And
Now, I'm
uh,
kind of curious when you because so what you're explaining is pretty amazing technology because I think that is one of the key
thank you.
things. We've looked at this in the data centers with modules. We've looked at this in development architectures in terms of code development of how things have done. We've never seen this in the financial or in anything on the blockchain itself that's gone this direction. Could this be something in terms of the voucher offerings? Is this technology usable with being able to deliver, say, packets of financial instruments, contracts, loans, legal documents, any of those kind of things that could eventually roll out into accessible data. How does that work?
Yes, you are on the right track, Paul. Actually, this vesting voucher is just the first type of financial NFT. We are and will develop, a host of different types of financial NFTs. As I just mentioned, the financial NFT is an NFT representing smart financial instrument. Let me dig a deeper in this concept. Um, a financial instrument. What is financial instrument? When you think
Yeah,
about it, you may say it's a legally binding contract, right? But in my opinion, it's money governed by some logic,
mm,
money flow governed by some logics, right? But it's not smart. Yeah, the traditional financial instrument is not smart
correct.
because we rely on human beings to execute the logic. It's not smart. So what I have done in the financial NFT is that we use the NFT plus smart contract technology to build a transferable thing that it can it is self-enforced, include some tokens, some money flows, and logic as encoded as code and self-enforced automatic execution and have deterministic features. So it's a new kinds of carrier of financial instrument. As you just said, we
Yeah,
think the limitation is nowhere. The potential is huge.
yeah. Well, I look at the market, especially when you think about DeFi and what a lot of people, because the challenge I think that the normal individual that maybe is just now first getting into crypto, or maybe they've never purchased a digital asset, barely know what an NFT is, the evolution of that person is going to understand this, much like, the traditional general investor today understands CDs, bonds, money markets, et
Yes.
cetera. Those kind of instruments have been around for years. They're very brute and very basic. They don't really do anything in the sense of security. They just, maybe get a little bit of yield. With this kind of component really shifting into utilizing NFT technology and smart contracts kind of as a blend, this could really kind of fly across a lot of different industries. You could see this in the medical record industry. You could see this in insurance, legal. You could also, the
Yes.
obvious is of course banking and finance, but there are so many professional organizations out there that blockchain and this kind of tech would eventually roll out to. With that being the case, how far out do you think we are in really seeing technology like this really being implemented into society?
Hmm. Actually, we are doing something very interesting. I can give you a few examples, maybe very inspiring. We are doing a new type of vouchers to support NFT leasing. Uh,
Okay.
nowadays, if you nowadays if you do if you want to lease your say laser sword, because you have a very strong, very powerful laser sword NFT. You don't have time to play and earn. You want to lease it to somebody else. But if you do that, you actually have to transfer the ownership to
Mm-hmm.
him, and this is risky because if he defaults, you actually literally can do nothing, right?
Right.
However,
You lose
with
the
this new
asset.
type of vouchers, yes, you lose the asset. With the
Yeah.
new type of vouchers we are developing, when you leasing out the laser sword, you actually can keep a stub NFT in your hand. So if the renter defaults, you can use the stub NFT to take back the laser sword. So so if you regard the leaser agreement as a special kind of financial instrument, are we doing something that implement a new type of, financial instrument? Yes, we're doing that. Actually, a host of financial instruments, such as you just mentioned CDs, commercial papers, and options, futures, can implement in financial NFT as financial NFT. Maybe another example, more inspiring. A group of my friends actually are developing a new type of financial NFT. They call it DTF. So it stands for DEX, Tradable Funds. So if this name reminds you ETF, actually you're on the right track. The idea is very simple. They put multiple kind of tokens into a voucher according to a certain proportion.
Right.
And maybe 1 Bitcoin, 10 Ether, 100 Solana, etc. And then this voucher dramatically become actually a portfolio, a mini fund, right? So they believe that this can revolutionize the traditional fund management. I think maybe they are right.
Yeah.
So we can also do something like NFT composition in financial NFT technology. For example, if you have two pieces of virtual line, number 71, number 99, how do you know if these two pieces of land, geographically adjacent? If they are, can you merge them to be a bigger piece of land? Because that may be significant. That may be important. Because if they can be merged into a bigger piece, you can build a road or a big buildings across the border. So this is what we are doing in Solv. We are developing a host of new kinds of financial NFT. We have our secret weapon. We call it EIP 3525. It's a new token standard. Yeah.
So, all right. So this, just so we break that down a little bit, because you kind of leaned in a little bit on how NFT and digital assets could be used, but that's a big problem right now. If you look at the gaming sector, let's just take Axie Infinity. We have whole guilds that are out there developing scholarships, which essentially are building their accounts. Then they're bringing on people who couldn't afford to either buy the Axies or get into the NFTs themselves.
Yes.
And that's a process. It's kind of a clunky process, but in this kind of scenario, you could actually transfer those assets out to your scholars, as opposed to creating those individual accounts, and then be able to pull those assets back should the scholar decide to go.
If they default, yeah.
Exactly. So that is a huge use case in when you think about just scholar programs and in general gaming sectors that are already moving in this direction. So I definitely agree with you there. Now let's talk about ERC20, ERC721 compared to what you guys are doing on ERC3525, which is the technology of kind of wrapping this in. Is that really the big difference between just what you guys are doing and what an ERC20 is delivering, which is more of just a one-to-one peer transaction?
Yeah, I believe so. Because the ERC 3525 is the first, we call it semi-fungible token standard. It's compatible with NFT. So every 3525 token meets all the requirements of ERC 721. So it's true. It's a genuine. Yeah, it's a genuine NFT. So technically, a 3525 token is a derived class or subclass of ERC 721. But it's much more flexible because it can be fractionalized into pieces. In this regard, it's almost as flexible as ERC 20. So
interesting. Okay.
I would argue that nowadays many people are considering some better solutions to do NFT fractionalization. Right. But I would argue that ERC 3525 offers a competitive fractionalization solution in many scenarios. The key reason is that we I believe that now the current popular style of I should say, sorry for this, fractionalization is actually, I call it smashing. So it smashes NFT into elementary particles. So if it works for you, it's good, no problem. But in many cases, it doesn't work, right? For example, a piece of virtual land, if you want to fractionalize it,
Right.
do you want it to be a smaller piece of land or a tons of ERC20 tokens, and which one do you prefer? So
Right.
in ERC 3525, when you fractionize an NFT into pieces, each piece remains an NFT.
Very
So you
cool.
can preserve the information you want to keep in the pieces. So this is beautiful. So this is the key, key feature of ERC 3525. We keep the NFT features when doing fractionalization.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's very useful, and it can inspire a lot of innovations.
Yeah, a lot of use case scenarios there. Mike, last question for you. I mean, obviously, adoption would be one of the
Sure,
key things here of people picking up that protocol. But where do you
sure.
see this going, financial NFTs, in say the next few years? Where is Solv, and what are you guys looking to do next?
Yeah. Today we are focused on financial NFT, and we believe this is will be a faster growing market. But after we will create a multiple. I should say this way: we will created many templates for people to build their and custom their financial NFTs upon. So
Gotcha.
if you want to build a future or option, you don't need to
Hmm.
write the financial the smart contract yourself. You just customize some parameters based on our templates. You can have your very type of financial NFT, and we can also build more broadly used financial innovations such as the virtual land mergeable
Right.
NFT I just mentioned. So I see endless opportunity for
Hmm.
innovation in this field, in this market. Maybe Paul, after this conversation, you will have some great idea in your head. So I think
Well,
it's
anytime
a
we see a new
huge.
protocol come into the game, I'm always intrigued because use case scenarios have kind of proven in blockchain and presented a lot of challenges. You know, whether if you're over in Sandbox, you know, if you do have land, you've got a scenario. Could you cut that parcel up? Do things like that after the NFT's been minted.
Yes.
If you're in a traditional game and you're gaming, you know, grabbing assets, that becomes an issue. Then you get into the financial market, the legal market, the insurance market, all those kind of things that typically have to be done in very sundry ways right now, just very manual. It's a very long process. So anybody who comes up, I think, with that next layer application protocol, this could be something pretty big. So congrats to what you guys at the team at Solv are doing, and it looks pretty fun
Thank you very
in the
much.
future for sure.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hey, Mike, thanks
Yeah.
again for stopping in on the show today. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for your time.
Excellent. All right, so you guys are tuned in over on the podcast right now. That's a great place to be, but the number one place and spot you should be is right here on YouTube. And it's easy. Just jump to YouTube, search Paul Barron Network. You'll find us. And the number one thing you can do once you get to our channel is subscribe and make sure you hit the bell, because that's going to give you updates on our live streams and a lot of the things that we do in terms of dropping great crypto and tech content back to you, our community. Make sure and join the Diamond Circle. Hit the link below. It's easy. If you want to reach me, do it on Twitter. It's @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.